Tonight and tomorrow, a mix of fog and rain outside at this hour.
But snow is also on the way, and it will start falling later tonight. So how much can we expect? It depends on where you are. Meteorologist Cheryl Scott is here with the ABC7 AccuWeather Alert forecast. This is a tough one, Cheryl.
Yeah, it's going to be just a messy mix of weather here as we go into tonight and the start of our weekend. And here's a live look downtown Chicago right now from our shed camera. You can barely see a whole lot. We've been dealing with this dense fog throughout the day today. Also note our temperatures matching that dew point. The air mass is saturated, reason for the dense fog. And also we are tracking rain as of right now. Now, first things first, the dense fog will be with us into the night tonight. That's where we have the dense fog advisory in effect until 9 o'clock. So definitely some travel concerns there with reduced visibility. Visibility is down less than a quarter of a mile in some locations right now, especially along and south of I-80. So this is one impact in terms of our weather situation for the evening, but also a winter weather advisory has been issued for our region. Counties to the west, it begins at 6 p.m. tonight, and then 8 p.m. off to the south and east a little bit, but that includes Cook County down towards Will. Winter weather advisory in effect because the rain that we're seeing right now coming down pretty moderate in some locations, including the city. This is going to change over to some snow. Right now, temperatures above that freezing mark, so warm enough to support liquid precipitation. Again, some periods of some moderate rain, but as cold air filters in behind the rain, that's going to switch over to snow, accumulating snow here in the forecast, the timeline, the timing, how much snow to expect. Up in just a few minutes. Back to you.
All right, I'm seeing some umbrellas here on State Street. That's going to turn to snow boots. You can track the snow coming with our free ABC7 AccuWeather app. Just search AccuWeather in the App Store or on Google Play.
We want to update a breaking news story. Chicago has its first confirmed case of the coronavirus. A woman who was recently traveling to see her family in China now being treated at an undisclosed hospital. Now this comes as the cases of the virus have now been reported in Europe. Screenings for the coronavirus continue at O'Hare Airport for passengers arriving from Asia. Eric Hong live tonight from Chicago's Office of Emergency Management with the latest on this story. Eric.
Cheryl, officials say there's nothing that the public here needs to do differently, no special precautions that need to be taken. They say that woman being treated had limited contact with people here in Chicago. Officials say the patient was in Wuhan, China, the epicenter of the outbreak, in late December, and returned to Chicago on January 13th. She had no symptoms on the plane, but started to feel sick a few days later.
She called ahead to alert her doctor to her illness, rather than just presenting to a clinic or emergency department. This is exactly what any potentially ill returning traveler from Wuhan should do.
The Chicago woman, who's in her 60s, now in stable condition and being treated in isolation at an undisclosed local hospital.
My understanding, she was ministering to her elderly father who was sick while she was there. She came home, started feeling the symptoms.
Officials say the woman did not take public transportation or attend large gatherings before being hospitalized. Officials say if this virulent strain of the coronavirus is consistent with other strains, it's not believed she was contagious before having symptoms.
The number of people that she came in contact with since returning to the United States is small.
Screening of arriving passengers from China continues at O'Hare and 4 other U.S. airports. And the CDC says as of yesterday, more than 2,000 people have been screened at the 5 airports. No cases have been found, and only 1 person has been sent for additional evaluation. Officials say workers at O'Hare are being given the latest information.
The CDA has no higher priority than the safety and well-being of the traveling public, as well as our airport community.
Officials say it's unclear how long that Chicago patient will remain in isolation. People who did have close contact with her are also being monitored for symptoms. Live at the Office of Emergency Management, Eric Hong, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Eric, new at 5, a warning from Chicago police tonight after several armed robberies on the city's north side. In one of those robberies, the thieves shot a man in the chest. This happened last night near North Shore and Bosworth. The first incident happened last Friday. Police think these crimes are all related, and the thieves are targeting a busy part of the city.
You're distracted. You're on your cell phones, you're not paying attention, and that's the opportune time. They sneak up on you because your situational awareness is very low. You don't see them until it's too late.
Police say those thieves are in a black 4-door sedan with black rims.
Well, Democratic House managers are using their final day of opening statements to make their case in the impeachment trial of President Trump. The proceedings continue at this hour on the U.S. Senate floor. Will Jones here now with details. Will.
Cheryl, earlier today, Democratic House managers focused on how the president abuses power. Now they're detailing their case of obstruction of Congress. Meanwhile, the president's legal team is giving a preview of their opening arguments. Democratic House managers putting forth their case that President Trump abuses power and should be removed from office.
President Trump's invitation of foreign interference in the 2020 election for the purposes of helping him win an election undercut the Constitution's commitment to popular sovereignty.
They say White House officials helped the president cover up the withholding of military aid to Ukraine for dirt on former Vice President Joe Biden.
The president's top aides were trying to convince the president to lift the hold in late August and early September. And White House officials were actively working to develop an excuse for the president's scheme and devise a cover story in the event that it was exposed.
The president's legal team is preparing for their opening arguments. Biden will be a target.
Joe Biden was charged as Vice President of the United States with the Ukraine policy. That was a specific charge. His son went to work for went on the board of a Ukrainian gas company.
Senate Republicans echoing that sentiment, defending the president.
If you're going to bring up the Ukraine and Trump, how can you not bring up the Ukraine and Biden?
The president is following the proceedings in the Senate, tweeting. The do-nothing Democrats just keep repeating and repeating over and over again the same old stuff on the impeachment hoax. A newly obtained recording by ABC News has renewed calls by Senate Democrats for new evidence and witnesses in the trial. The recording is from a 2018 dinner. A voice that appears to be the president tells an associate of his attorney, Rudy Giuliani, that he wants Ukrainian Ambassador Marie Yovanovitch fired. She was let go 1 year later.
And Will, ABC's World News Tonight will have more on that recorded conversation and today's impeachment trial proceedings. That's coming up right after this newscast at 5:30. The proceedings are being streamed live on our website.
Well, right now, a jury is deliberating the case of a man charged with killing a Hinsdale woman after breaking into her home. Dominic Sanders is accused of beating Andrea Urban and slashing her throat. Prosecutors say Sanders then went to her room and stole 2 heirloom rings from a jewelry box. Prosecutors say their most powerful evidence is blood recovered from one of Sanders' shoes.
New at 5 tonight, a racist flyer posted on a utility box on a busy street on Chicago's north side. It was discovered in the 3000 block of North Broadway near a popular coffee shop. Evelyn Holmes has reaction tonight from people who say racism will not be tolerated in their community.
This afternoon, some residents in Chicago's Lakeview East neighborhood are appalled after a racially charged flyer is found taped to a traffic control box along a north side street.
I've never seen anything along those lines before, so that is a bit disturbing to see and hear.
We're not showing the flyer because it may offend some people. Its text blames African Americans for the city's crime and gun violence problem, while touting the theory of race science, a belief IQ is in part determined by ethnicity.
I'm here 5 days a week, so it's disheartening and unfortunate. You would think that we're past those times, but unfortunately we're not.
The flyer was found late Thursday night in the 3000 block of North Broadway Avenue in the neighborhood's business district. Maureen Martino, the executive director of Lakeview East Chamber of Commerce, says the free speech expressed in the flyer isn't reflective of the area.
I believe that people understand that we have a lot of different types of people walking the street that may not be accepting of everyone, and we're looking at this incident as a separate issue.
In a statement, 44th Ward Alderman Tom Tunney writes, "Hate of any kind has no place in the 44th Ward or the city of Chicago. This ignorant posting does not reflect the values of our neighborhood, and views like this are not welcome here."
It's unclear if there were any other flyers found in the neighborhood. Chicago police say they are prepared to investigate. Reporting from Chicago's north side, Evelyn Holmes, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Naval Station Great Lakes was placed on lockdown today, delaying a graduation ceremony. When the news at 5 continues, we'll tell you what set off this security measure.
Also ahead, some Chicago police officers receiving new life-saving equipment today, thanks to the help of others.
And the big surprise for a teacher and coach who goes the extra mile for students, the effort to honor him is making Chicago proud.
This season, take an incredible journey through 5,000 years of culture with Shen Yun. Discover why people are calling Shen Yun a visual feast. A pleasure